Hello, my friends. It's Sabrina from Tree of Life Inner Guidance. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy the content. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. So if you do like this content, I am new to YouTube. I am not new to giving these talks. I've done them for almost a year now on Facebook, and I'm switching everything over to YouTube. So I do have a little video up, what I'm about, what this channel's about, but I'll give you a little briefing here. So first and foremost, this is all for entertainment purposes only. I do hope you enjoy the content and find it useful. I do have a degree in nutrition and wellness counseling. I've been in the fitness industry for over 40 years. That's my real job. I'm a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, train the trainer, and I've been sent all over the world training instructors, and I've really had a great life. So how I ended up doing these little talks, last November, I think we all know what happened in November 2024, I found that a lot of my friends and people close to me were really kind of going through a lot of emotional whiplash, shall we say, and it's still ongoing. So I started these little talks, offering up some coping skills during these crazy times. I am not going to talk about the P word. So anything red or blue, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just here to offer up my viewpoint on what is helpful during these crazy times. So today at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time, I'm coming to you from New Mexico. There was a full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces. I did have a little chat about that earlier in the week, kind of a prep, because these eclipses, it's never just the day of at 11:30 a.m. when everything, the dew hits the fan. There's usually a buildup to a full moon, and there's usually more of a buildup to an eclipse. And just to tell you what an eclipse is, we have the sun, we have the earth, we have the moon. During a full lunar eclipse, the earth blocks the sun from the moon and casts a shadow on it, and it turns the moon blood red. So that's where the blood red connotation comes from. We didn't observe this on my neck of the woods in this side of the country, but it was seen on the other side, probably in Australia and New Zealand, on that side of the world. But at any rate, so I just thought I'd share a little story with you. I love to tell stories, and hopefully you love to listen to them. Friday night was a very exciting night for me. I went to see The Fix. Yes, The Fix, F-I-X-X, the 80s band from London, England. They were right here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it was kind of interesting because it rained up until the show started, did not rain at all for the show, and as soon as the show was done, it started raining again. But I was safe and dry. I was hanging out under a little bit of an awning, but it was just fascinating. And I don't know if it was the full moon, the eclipse, or what was going on, but their songs I used in aerobics classes 40 years ago. So what happened to me is I just kind of was in this time warp or something, that I was thinking back of the last 40 years of my life and what I did and where I'd been and where I'd come from and where I am now. And it was just a real emotional thing. So it was also, the full moon coming up in Pisces, which is sensitive and emotional and all that stuff. But the other thing that was fascinating that I'm probably going to talk about, my talk might end up being about this tonight, is when the song Stand or Fall came on. It hit the audience like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like crying. And I'm looking at the lady that I had been chatting to next to me, and I can see her blinking the tears away. And I was kind of didn't want to look around because I didn't want to be the crying fool. But I know that that entire audience had tears in their eyes. Now, you need to go look up the words to Stand or Fall by The Fix. They are so spot on for what is going on in our times right now that it was, it was just hard to believe. The song came out in 1982, so 43 years ago, and it is so relevant right now that the audience was just like, they couldn't believe they were hearing it. It was just really something else. So I came home and cried. I got out of bed yesterday morning and cried. That's probably why my voice is still a little bit bad. But anyway, just, tears for the whole world. And, as I'm thinking about this, because I was thinking plenty about it yesterday, I think that many of us these days feel alone. You just kind of feel alone in your beliefs. You feel alone in just alone in your life purpose, maybe. And looking around at that audience, listening to this song, to all the Fix songs, they're awesome. Look them up. It was like, we're not alone. You are not alone. None of us are alone, but there are times when we feel alone. And when I saw a collective group of people that I knew felt the same way that I did, I just knew we're not alone. And I think that many people don't want to reach out to others because, I don't know what's going to happen. Somebody might say something nasty. And what are you going to do? People being nasty to you is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. And I've been in I've had a few nasty moments. And if I'm on the phone talking to a salesperson or something, I say, listen, I don't mean to be a nasty ass, but this is a situation and I have to talk to you. So I can understand where it would be difficult to try and reach out and find your tribe when you're not sure of other people's beliefs or what's going to happen these days. But I'm going to encourage you to take steps to find your tribe. Ask the universe to help you find your tribe because we're not alone. I was around a whole group of people that I had never seen in my life, a couple people I did know. But I'm like, I knew they were feeling the same way that I was feeling. So there are many people that feel the way you are feeling right now. You just have to ask for guidance to find those people in your life that can help you out and make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And the thing with finding your tribe is you will feel so much better not being alone. Because I think if we feel like we're the only person that feels that way, and then all of a sudden, all these people start appearing that are very like-minded, and then there's a comfort in knowing that there are other people out there to support you. So if you're feeling that aloneness, I encourage you to ask the universe to send channels on YouTube, broadcast on Facebook, send people or organizations or emails that you may get that you can connect with other people that will be there for you and are like-minded so you don't feel so alone in this messy, messy world that we're in right now. So that was my Friday night experience. So the other thing I'm going to talk about, and we're going to completely shift gears here, sort of, I am been studying runes again. Now, in case you can't tell, I'm like totally Scandinavian, Norwegian. I'm Swedish. My great grandmother was off the boat from Sweden. So these Nordic runes have always fascinated me. And so now I'm taking a look at the runes a little bit more deeply and how they relate to tarot cards, how they relate to astrology. And it's very fascinating. I drew a rune before we come on here, and they are ancient writing tools. There were stones, but the symbols were written on tablets from many centuries ago, BC, not meaning what was before COVID, but now I joke around and say, well, that was BC, before COVID. So these were long before COVID. And they were used as magic and divination tools. And it's very interesting trying to study them, because not only is it a different language, but you have to learn the name, you have to learn the pronunciation, you have to learn the symbology, then you have to learn what those symbols mean. And then how you put them up against a tarot card or against astrology or planets, and how you kind of put those all together so it makes a little bit more sense. So I do have the runic tarot deck that I'm going to show you, and this is the deck I'm going to start out with tonight. And I will be doing a rune of the week as we move along. And I am putting together a workshop on the runes. So when that's ready, I'll let you all know. So anyway, this runic tarot deck, this is what it looks like here. And the symbology on the front there, that's actually the devil right there. That first, this picture, drawing, artwork is the devil tarot card, okay? So I was kind of fascinated by this deck and terrified at the same time. And I'm a crazy person. So the more something scares me, I think the more I just go do it and say, it can't be that bad. So this has been a super learning experience for me. So I'm gonna, first of all, I'll show you all the runes. I put together this lovely little artwork. I was supposed to be a graphic designer. So here are all the runes. It's a little glary here from this light. Hopefully that fixed it. So anyway, you can still see a little glare, but what I did here is, this is the Witch's Familiar Runic Oracle. So I put all the cards on here, and I also put a rune on there. And the rune's very interesting. And I read tarot card, I'm a weirdo. I read tarot cards right to left, not left to right. So you also read the runes right to left. So this is the first rune, and on through, there's 24 runes, and then a blank one. So the blank one, some decks talk about, some don't. Ralph Bloom from 30 or 40 years ago, when his book came out on runes, he did include the blank. So I did put it on here. But anyway, she did these all in animals, and they're really beautiful. So when I talk about the rune, I'm also going to talk about the animal that Athena Natura talks about on there. So these are her cards. Tore the deck apart, framed it up, and we're going to use it. So the first rune I drew, and you usually have them in a velvet bag, and you draw one out, or however many out. We're doing one at a time tonight. So the first one I drew was Fehu, which happens to be the very first rune. So being an educator, I taught, that's all I do is teach. So what I've done for anatomy and moves and all sorts of things, I use index cards, flash cards. So I have a flash card for Fehu here. Now, this is a rune of livestock, so property. It's often associated with cattle. So when you see Fehu, you'll see cattle because it's property, it's livestock, it's stuff. So that immediately Taurus comes to mind. So when I see this rune and I see livestock and cattle, I think Taurus. But that's not necessarily what is going to be associated with Fehu, but that's what comes to mind. So as I'm reading up on this, this is about wealth, it's about prosperity, abundance, but it's also about philanthropy. And so there is the key word there. So Fehu is abundance, property, stuff, livestock, wealth, and philanthropy. Now, why is that important? So when I'm reading through this is crazy business. The card that the runic tarot designates to go with Fehu is the Tower. Now you see that's a pretty nasty tower. That whole dragon is burning down the house, so to speak. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, why are they associating these two things? Now, people have different opinions about decks and they see things very differently. You know, like most readers read left to right, I read right to left. That's just me. So the person that did the runic tarot here, this is the card that they associated with Fehu. Why? So as I thought about it and read a little bit more about it, it really relates to times today. Why am I saying this? Because if you have wealth and you have prosperity and you have abundance and you have stuff and you don't share that stuff and you are greedy and you are nasty and you don't take care of those in need, you're going to have a tower moment. It's just a matter of time. So I finally got it after a while. I don't know that if I was doing a deck on runes and relating it to tarot, that I would have picked the Tower to go with that rune. I probably wouldn't have, but it definitely gave me a whole different insight into this rune and into life. That if you have absolutely more than what you need and you don't share and try to help others, what good is that? You know, you can't take it with you, you know, and that's what I always say. And then I go buy more shoes that I don't need. But so that was very interesting. And I'll be using some other card decks to talk about the runes. And I'm really, really interested to see the different takes that people have on this particular rune, and all of them, in fact. So that was very fascinating. So that was the very first rune in the, and we still have 24 more to go. So I will be talking about these once a week. They're fascinating to me, and you'll hear more about it. So we talked about being alone and talked about the fix and my experience with that. We shifted into a rune for today, which really is kind of very descriptive of what's going on in the world. And so to kind of tie all these things together, I'm going to talk a little bit about the eclipse. Now, you might have got off scot-free and nothing happened to you during this eclipse. It might not have touched your chart. Maybe it did touch your chart and you just don't know it yet. But often a full moon, as I talked about earlier, brings things to illumination. Full moon, full light, full illumination. And when you can see something under full illumination, you see it clearly. And this could mean some of you might have had an ending of some sort. Relationship, job. I know I'm so sorry for these people, a couple people that lost their pets, a couple friends of mine. So there could have been an ending. That is kind of typical. Now, it doesn't have to be bad. It's not necessarily good. It could go in either direction. But what I encourage you to think about, if you did have an ending, I want you to not look at it as an ending. I want you to look at it as a change. Now, most people don't like change. I'm one of these people that I love change. I deal with it usually very well. I roll with it, I growl around a bit, and then I'm like, well, how can I make the best of this? So if you did have an ending, I want you to think not, oh, it's over, it's done, it's this. I want you to think, I have a change in my life. How am I going to adapt to this and use this change to present a more favorable opportunity for myself? So instead of looking at it as a loss or looking at it as an ending, look at it as a change. Because there's one thing in life we can count on. That is change. Because nothing ever really stays the same completely. So I hope you all made it through the eclipse okay. The eclipses can last for up to 6 months. So whatever's going on, if you did have a change, you might need 6 months for it to kind of all spin out to where you're going to see 6 months from now, this was one of the best things for you. And I know we all say that, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened, but at the time it was awful. So I'm just going to say, pull up your big girl and big boy panties. Look at things in a new light. So don't look at it the same way you did before. Figure out a different way to look at things and look at things as a change in your life. And how are you going to make the best of this opportunity that the universe has given you? And sometimes it's not a whole lot of fun, but hopefully you will see that it could be for the better in the long run. So, and I'm not trying to be trite or insensitive. If some of you did have a very big change, and hang in there, it will get better. Take steps to find support for yourself if you need to do that. So I had a little reading myself tonight, and it's kind of funny. So I did draw a couple cards. And ironically, for the eclipse, I have the moon magic cards. And when I had my reading tonight, here's the card that came up. And it's kind of cool, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. This is the exact card that came up in a reading I had myself tonight. And I just pulled the card and I'm like, are you kidding? So I'm going to have to read it to you because it obviously pertains. The card says, I am honest with myself and others. So I'll hold that up there too for you. I got to fix this glare. There we go. So I couldn't believe I drew the same card. So obviously, it definitely means something. And then I have one more of these cards for you. And here's the eclipse. You know, the cards don't lie. There it is. So this card, this is awesome. I let go, I release. I am within perfect possibility. Now, I think about what I'm going to talk about on here, and then I just ask the universe as I'm shuffling the cards. And I told you I don't shuffle live because I have really small hands, and sometimes I have a hard time holding the cards. Wham, wham, wham. But so I'm afraid that I'm going to shuffle and they're going to fly all over the room and I'm going to be a fool on camera for the world to see. So I think about what I want to talk about. I ask the universe and my spirits and guides to what can I tell people? What can I tell people? And this is what I got. So this is awesome. And then the other thing in closing that I'm going to say that I think might be helpful is this is from Cosmic Magic Oracle. And the card I pulled out of there, and why I want to talk about it, is Aquarius and individuality. Now, Aquarius is about being an individual, but it's also about friends. It's about the collective. And you've heard a lot of people talk about, oh, Pluto's now in Aquarius and the power of the people. And you are seeing the power of the people. You're seeing a lot of protests. You're seeing a lot of people getting involved and speaking up. But the one thing I want to talk about that I hear a lot of astrologers talk about, oh, Pluto and the power to the people. Now, I'm a Sag. I have a bunch of stuff in Capricorn. I lived through Pluto conjunct my sun in the 8th house of transformation and death. I lived through Pluto conjunct my Mars, my moon, my Mercury, my Venus, my midheaven, and now it's breathing down my Saturn's neck in the 10th house. So Pluto is about transformation and death, not actual death, although it can be, but it is about transformation. And if you think that Pluto's going to touch anything really close to you and not transform it, you have another thing coming. I went through 2008 through a business, downsized. I went from COVID and having I was back in New Hampshire. I moved to New Mexico. I went through COVID, shutting down a brick and mortar, and now I'm here talking to you on YouTube. I would have never in a million years believed that when all this started back in 2008, that by the time 2025 rolled around, I would have lived in 2 different states, had a bunch of different jobs, all kind of the same related. But Pluto will first burn to the ground to become the phoenix to rise out of the ash. Yes, I rose. I did. I can't believe it, but I did. So when you hear everyone talk about Pluto and Aquarius, and it's about the collective, and it's about people and power to the people, Pluto is also about power, struggles, and things like that. But in order for something to be transformed, it's got to change. So when you're not seeing all the people winning soon, I want you to remember that Pluto's job is to burn it all to the ground so it can rise up anew. So it was interesting drawing this Aquarius card because that's exactly what I thought of. And I wanted to say that for quite some time, that yes, power to the people, but we have to have that transformation so the people can prevail. So I would like to leave you with that thought tonight. I'll summarize. You are not alone. You're not alone at all. And remember that. Ask the universe to help you find your group. Okay? If you have prosperity and abundance and you have more than you need, see if you can help others. And just remember, transformation before you rise. So I hope this was helpful. This was kind of 3 different little chats because I guess I had kind of a big weekend. So anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoy this content. I will be loading more videos as time goes on, and I hope to do some collaborations. And, it's all a process. And anyway, our whole lives are all a process. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.